The earth shook with the fury of 1,000 demons, and Maya Chen felt the ground vanish beneath her feet. Emma's scream echoed through the collapsing concrete, but it was the teacher's soft voice, singing in the middle of hell, that would make a mayor question everything. It was exactly 2:47 p.m. on an ordinary Tuesday in San Francisco, California. Maya Chen, 28, music teacher at Lincoln Elementary School, was organizing sheet music in the classroom when she felt the first tremor. It wasn't uncommon. California lived with small earthquakes constantly, but this one was different. The roar came from below, deep, visceral, as if the earth itself were screaming. If you want to know how a simple song can save lives in the middle of the greatest natural disaster of the decade, don't leave this video. And if you like stories that touch the heart, hit that like button now, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any emotional stories. And tell me in the comments, have you ever lived a moment when music saved you emotionally? Let's go. Maya had only 3 seconds to react. The wooden floor of the classroom began to ripple like a solid ocean. The colorful posters on the walls, Mozart, Beethoven, smiling children with instruments, began to fall. The 400-pound upright piano slid across the floor as if it were made of cardboard. Under the tables, Maya shouted, her emergency training taking over. But there was only one child in the room. Emma Rodriguez, 7 years old, brown hair and braids, green eyes wide with pure terror. The girl had stayed after class to practice her recorder. Her parents, restaurant workers, could only pick her up at 3:30 p.m. Maya didn't think. Her body moved on instinct. She crossed the room in 3 long strides, scooped Emma into her arms, and dove under the nearest metal desk. The world exploded into chaos, shattering glass, splintering wood, crumbling concrete. The noise was indescribable. It wasn't just sound, it was a physical presence, a force that pressed on her eardrums, vibrated in her bones, and stole the air from her lungs. Maya held Emma tightly, covering the girl's head with her own body. The metal desk shook violently above them. "Mommy," Emma screamed, her voice barely audible over the apocalyptic roar. "I'm here, sweetie, I'm here," Maya shouted back, clutching the child to her chest. The earthquake lasted 47 seconds. For Maya, it felt like 47 years. When the main movement finally ceased, the silence that followed was even more terrifying, and heavy, suffocating, quiet, broken only by the distant groan of twisted metal and the tinkle of falling glass. Maya waited, counting mentally. 5 seconds? 10? 15? Her training said to wait. Aftershocks always came. Teacher Maya. Emma's voice was a trembling whisper in the darkness. "I'm here, Emma. I'm right here with you." Maya tried to move. A sharp pain pierced her left shoulder. Something heavy was pressing on her back. Slowly, carefully, she turned her head. What she saw made her blood run cold. The classroom no longer existed. Where cheerful yellow walls had once stood, there were only ruins. Concrete beams crossed the space at impossible angles. The outer wall had completely collapsed, leaving an irregular hole that revealed the blue sky, a sky so serene it seemed to mock the chaos below. But worst of all, they were trapped. The metal desk had formed a protective cavity, a small triangle of life within the wreckage. But above it, the ceiling had collapsed. Beams, wall fragments, air ducts, pipestems of debris created a cage around them. Maya made a quick assessment. They had maybe 1 meter of headroom, 3 meters wide, 2 meters deep, a box, a tomb of concrete and metal. "Teacher, it's dark," Emma whimpered. It wasn't, not completely. Sunlight pierced through the rubble in a few spots, creating dusty beams in the gloom, but for a terrified 7-year-old, any shadow was total darkness. "I know, sweetheart, but look," Maya pointed to one of the light rays. "See that light? That's the sun. The sun's still shining. Everything's going to be okay." She didn't know if she believed that, but she had to make Emma believe. Maya reached for her cell phone in the pocket of her jeans. Slow movement, careful. Each motion made the debris above them creak threateningly. Her fingers found the device. Samsung Galaxy. Purple case. She pulled it out. Cracked screen. But working. 2:48 p.m. 1 minute since the earthquake. No signal. Of course there wasn't. Cell towers had probably fallen or were overloaded. During emergencies, networks always collapsed. "Do you have your phone?" Emma asked hopefully. "I do, but it's not working right now. But you know what? The people out there know we're here. Firefighters, police, rescue teams, they'll come for us." "Well, soon? How long is soon?" Maya had no answer. In earthquakes of this magnitude, rescues could take hours, days. She'd seen the news: Haiti in 2010, Japan in 2011, people trapped for days. Some rescued, others not. No, she couldn't think like that. An aftershock shook the structure. Emma screamed. Maya pulled her closer, shielding the girl's head again. Pieces of concrete fell, raising clouds of dust. The air became thick, suffocating. When it stopped, Emma was sobbing uncontrollably. "I want my mommy. I want my daddy. I know, my love. I know. They're thinking of you right now. They're safe, and they'll see you very soon." Maya didn't know if Emma's parents were safe. She didn't know if anyone was. That earthquake had been massive. The whole city was probably in ruins. Emma kept crying. Her small body trembled violently. hyperventilation. Maya recognized the signs. If the girl panicked completely, she would burn through oxygen fast. And Maya didn't know how much oxygen they had in that confined space. She needed to calm Emma quickly. Emma, look at me. Maya gently lifted the girl's chin. Remember the song we were practicing yesterday? Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Emma nodded, tears streaking her dusty face. Let's sing together, okay? I can't, Emma sobbed. I'll start, and you just breathe with me, all right? Inhale when I inhale, exhale when I sing. Let's try. Maya began to sing, her voice trained through years of music lessons. Church, choir, and community performances floated softly in the confined space. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, gentle, warm, steady. How, I wonder what you are. Emma stopped sobbing. Her eyes locked on Maya's face. Up above the world so high, Maya made smooth hand gestures, creating movement, distraction. Like a diamond in the sky, Emma's breathing began to slow, syncing with the melody. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. How, I wonder what you are. Now you, Maya whispered encouragingly. Emma swallowed hard. Her voice came out small, trembling, but it was there. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Maya smiled, singing along. How, I wonder what you are. They sang together. Once, twice, 3 times. With each repetition, Emma's voice grew a little stronger, a little steadier. Outside the pocket of debris, the world was in total chaos. Lincoln Elementary School, a 3-story building constructed in 1968, had partially collapsed. The east wing where the music room was completely destroyed. The west wing still stood, but severely damaged. Of the 320 children at the school, most had been evacuated in the first seconds of the quake. Heroic teachers had led students to open fields, but some classrooms weren't so lucky. The San Francisco Fire Department had mobilized every available unit. Urban search and rescue teams from across the bay had been activated. But the earthquake hadn't just struck the school, it had struck the entire city. Magnitude 7.8 on the Richter scale. Epicenter only 12 miles deep, directly beneath the financial district. The worst natural disaster to hit San Francisco since 1906. Buildings had collapsed downtown. The Bay Bridge had cracked, an entire section falling into the water. Fires were breaking out across the city, ruptured gas lines, downed power wires, exploding transformers. The water system was compromised. Firefighters were struggling with low pressure. And amid all of it, Mayor Robert Harrison was making the most important decision of his career. Robert Harrison, 52, was in his 3rd term as mayor of San Francisco. He was known as a pragmatic politician, efficient, numbers-driven, results-focused, gray hair slicked back, immaculate suits, always upright posture, an administrator, not a visionary. A man who kept the city running. When the earthquake hit, Harrison was in City Hall attending a housing budget meeting. The historic building, built to withstand quakes, had shaken violently but held. Harrison and his team were evacuated immediately. Now, 20 minutes after the disaster, Harrison was at the temporary emergency command center set up in the City Hall parking lot. Laptops on car hoods, radios crackling, police officers, firefighters, paramedics all shouting information simultaneously. Mr. Mayor, we need your authorization to request federal assistance. Mayor, we've got reports of looting in the Mission District. Sir, General Hospital is running on generators. They've got 2 hours of power left. Mayor Harrison, the governor's on the line. Harrison raised his hand. Instant silence. Priorities, he said, his calm voice cutting through the chaos. First, lives. Second, fires. Third, critical infrastructure. Everything else waits. Johnson, he pointed to his chief of staff, coordinate with FEMA and the governor. Federal assistance approved. Martinez, he turned to the police chief. Looting is a problem, but not our problem right now. Leave 2 units in the mission, everyone else to search and rescue. Thompson, fire chief, I want reports every 10 minutes on fires and rescues. He was good at this, making decisions, cutting through noise, focusing on essentials. Mayor, a young police officer ran up, radio in hand. We just got confirmation Lincoln Elementary School, Richmond District, partial collapse. Unknown number of victims trapped. Harrison's stomach clenched. He had 3 children, all grown now, but he remembered when they were little. Elementary school, colorful backpacks, playground laughter. How many teams en route? 2, sir. But the officer hesitated. Sir, there are fires at 5 different sites between here and Richmond. Roads are blocked. 1 team is stuck in traffic. Harrison closed his eyes briefly. Hundreds of emergencies, limited resources. It was impossible to save everyone, but these were children. Redirect the team that's stuck. Find an alternate route. Use sidewalks if necessary. And keep me updated every 5 minutes on Lincoln. Yes, sir. Harrison returned to the maps spread across the hood of a Chevrolet Suburban. Red markers for collapsed buildings, yellow for fires, blue for operational hospitals. The city looked like a war board. His satellite phone buzzed. Direct call from the governor. Robert, I need numbers, Harrison reported. Estimated 200 to 400 dead, thousands injured, tens of thousands displaced, billions in damage. The governor spoke of the National Guard. Federal emergency declaration, state resources, a 5-minute call that felt like 5 hours. When he hung up, another officer approached. Mayor, first teams arrived at Lincoln Elementary, a flicker of relief. Status, complex, East Wing, totally destroyed. They're scanning with dogs and listening equipment. Sir, the officer paused. They heard something. What? A voice. Someone singing. Back under the rubble, Maya and Emma were on their 4th round of You Are My Sunshine. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine, Emma's voice now sang along small but determined. You make me happy when skies are gray. Maya checked her phone again. 3:02 p.m., 15 minutes trapped. It felt like forever. The pain in her shoulder was intensifying, probably injured or broken. Dry mouth, dust in her lungs. Every breath scraped her throat, but she kept singing. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you, Emma. Nestled closer. Teacher Maya, you have a beautiful voice. Thank you, sweetie, so do you. When we get out, can I sing in the Christmas concert? When, not if. Maya swallowed the lump in her throat. Of course you can. You'll be the star of the show. Another aftershock. Smaller than before, but still terrifying. They waited silent, holding each other. When it passed, Maya heard something different. A sound, distant, muffled. Voices. She focused. Yes, male voices, shouting commands. Emma, did you hear that? What? Listen, be very quiet. They went completely silent. Then, clearly, can anyone hear me? Rescue. The rescue teams were there. Here, Maya shouted with all her strength. We're here, 2 people. Silence outside. Did they hear? Here, music room, 2 people, 1 child. Emma started shouting too. Help, we're here. Outside, Captain Mike Stevens of the Urban Search and Rescue Team stopped. He'd commanded rescue operations for 18 years. Haiti, Japan, Nepal, Turkey. He knew this work. Silence, he ordered his team. 6 men froze. I heard something, east sector, approximately 30 feet in. He activated his radio base. Captain Stevens, we have confirmed signs of life at Lincoln Elementary, East Wing. At least 2 people, 1 child. Beginning extraction operation. At the command center, Harrison heard the transmission. A spark of hope. Keep me updated, he told the radio operator. His mind calculated. Lincoln Elementary 20 minutes away. Should he go? No. His place was here, coordinating the whole city. He had to think of everyone, not just a few, but they were children. He looked at his chief aide. Prepare a car. I'm going to Lincoln. Sir, you're needed here. We have hundreds of Jennifer, Harrison interrupted. I understand, but I need to see. I need to be there. You coordinate here. Any critical decision, call me. I'll be back in an hour. She hesitated, then nodded. She'd known him 10 years. When he made a decision, it was final. Harrison got into a police SUV. The driver, Officer Rodriguez, turned on the siren and sped through the devastated streets of San Francisco. The scene was apocalyptic. Tilted buildings, cars crushed under rubble, people wandering in shock, dust-covered faces, hollow eyes. Fires burned on 3 visible corners. Water gushed from a broken hydrant, creating a river down 5th Street. Harrison forced himself not to look at everything. If he really looked, he might freeze. And he couldn't afford that. 15 minutes of dangerous maneuvers through shattered streets. Finally, Lincoln Elementary. Harrison stepped out and froze. The building he'd personally visited 3 months earlier for a fundraising event, a solid, cheerful yellow structure filled with children's laughter, was now a pile of cracked concrete and twisted metal. Mayor Harrison, Captain Stevens approached, yellow helmet covered in dust. Sir, we didn't expect you here. Status confirmed as survivors trapped in the east section. Teacher and a student, identified as Maya Chen and Emma Rodriguez. We're working to establish clearer communication and assess structural stability before extraction. How long? Stevens hesitated. Honestly, sir, 2 hours, best case, 4 to 6 worst. Structure is extremely unstable. One wrong move and everything could come down on them. Harrison felt the weight of responsibility. What do you need? More hands. More gear. We've got a 6-man team. For an operation like this, we need 12 to 15, plus heavy cutting tools, braces, lighting. You'll have it, I promise. Harrison was already pulling out his satellite phone, making calls, mobilizing resources, pulling teams from other sites. Yes, there were other emergencies, but here, now, in this moment, these 2 lives were his priority. As he coordinated, a sound drifted from the rubble. Faint, muffled, but unmistakable. Someone was singing. Harrison stopped talking. What's that? Stevens smiled faintly. That's the teacher, Maya Chen. She's been singing to keep the child calm. Been doing it for the last 20 minutes. Harrison walked closer to the pile of debris. Stevens followed. They stopped near a small opening between fallen beams. The sound came from there. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high. The voice was clear. Despite everything, trained, beautiful. But more than that, it was full of warmth, care, determination. There's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby. Harrison felt something tighten in his chest. When was the last time he'd really heard someone sing? Not at a concert or political event, but truly sing, with purpose, with soul. somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue. A second voice joined, small and hesitant, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true, the child. Singing along, Harrison crouched near the opening. Hello, he called. Can you hear me? The music stopped. Yes, Maya's voice answered. We're here, 2 people. My name is Robert Harrison. I'm the mayor of San Francisco. We have a rescue team working to get you out. Are you hurt? Pause. I'm fine. Just some scratches. Emma's fine. Please get us out of here. We will. I promise, but it's going to take some time. We need to do this very carefully so we don't destabilize the structure. Understand? Yes. How long? Harrison looked at Stevens, who held up 4 fingers. A few hours, but we'll work as fast as we can. What do you need right now? Water? First aid? Another pause. When Maya answered, her voice trembled slightly. We're fine. Just, please, keep talking. So we know you're still there. I'll stay here, Harrison said. I won't leave until you're out. That's a promise. Stevens looked at him, surprised. Sir, you don't have to. I'm staying, Harrison said firmly. He didn't know exactly why. There were 1,000 places he should be, thousands of people who needed him. But something about that voice singing under the rubble, something about that teacher protecting a child in the middle of hell, touched something deep inside him. Maybe because his entire career had been about numbers, statistics, budgets, policies. He had forgotten what all of it really meant. People, real lives, real moments. Maya, he called out, you were singing. Can you keep going? It would be good to hear you. Silence for a moment. Then, soft and clear, the voice returned. What a wonderful world. Harrison sat down on the rubble, ignoring his $3,000 suit getting ruined. He listened, really listened. I see trees of green, red roses too, around him. The rescue team kept working, hydraulic cutters, braces being positioned, but everything seemed to fade into the background. I see them bloom for me and you. Stevens knelt beside Harrison. She has a beautiful voice. Yes, Harrison murmured. She does. And I think to myself. Emma joined in, small but determined. What a wonderful world. Under the debris, Maya held Emma close. Tears streamed down her dust-covered face, but she kept singing, because as long as she sang, Emma was calm. As long as she sang, they had hope. And outside, a mayor who had spent 15 years focused on efficiency and results felt his own tears burn his eyes. He didn't know it yet, but that moment, that voice in the rubble would change everything. Maya's voice echoed through the wreckage once more, but this time there was something different in her tone, a fragility that hadn't been there before. Harrison noticed immediately. Maya, he called through the narrow opening. Are you okay? Silence. Then, a faint whisper. I'm getting dizzy. Stevens jumped to his feet. Oxygen. They're running out of oxygen in that confined space. Harrison felt panic rise in his throat. How long do they have? Impossible to say precisely. Depends on the size of the cavity, how many openings there are, their oxygen consumption. But if she's getting dizzy now, Stevens paused, calculating. An hour, maybe less. You said you needed 4 hours to get them out? Then find a way to do it in 1. Stevens looked at the mayor. Sir, if we rush the process, we could destabilize the entire structure. They'll be crushed. And if we don't rush, they'll suffocate. So tell me, Captain, what's the option where those 2 people don't die? Stevens took a deep breath. He'd done this hundreds of times. Saving lives meant taking calculated risks. Sometimes it meant doing the impossible. We need more people now. Harrison was already on the satellite phone. Jennifer, it's me. I need 3 additional urban rescue teams at Lincoln Elementary. Yes, I know we have other emergencies. I know. But these people will die within the next hour if we don't act. So you'll find those teams. I don't care where from. Make it happen. He hung up without waiting for an answer. Inside the rubble, Maya was fighting to stay conscious. The dizziness had come suddenly, like a wave. The air was getting heavy, dense. Every breath took effort. Emma was lying against her, eyes half closed. The girl had stopped singing 5 minutes ago. Emma, Maya whispered, gently shaking the child. Emma, sweetheart, you have to stay awake. I'm tired. Teacher, I know. Me too, but we have to stay awake. Let's sing another song. Okay? I can't for the first time. Maya felt true terror. Emma was giving up. And if the girl gave up, Maya would too. It was so easy to just close her eyes. Let the exhaustion win. Sleep. No. Maya forced herself to sit up straighter, ignoring the stabbing pain in her shoulder. She looked up at the small sliver of light still cutting through the debris, and she began to sing. Louder this time, with every ounce of strength she had left. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Her voice echoed through the cavity. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Outside, Harrison heard. Everyone heard. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. She's burning oxygen singing like that, one of the technicians muttered. She's keeping the child alive, Stevens snapped back. Let her sing. Harrison moved closer to the opening again. Maya, save your strength. Help is coming. But Maya didn't stop. She couldn't stop. If she stopped, Emma would fall asleep. And Maya had seen enough documentaries about suffocation to know that falling asleep in an oxygen-deprived space meant dying. Hide it under a bushel. No, I'm gonna let it shine. Emma stirred slightly. Her eyes opened a little. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Sing with me, Emma, Maya pleaded. Please, sweetheart, sing with me. Emma's voice came out weak, but it was there. This little light of mine, that's it. Keep going. Louder. I'm gonna let it shine, the two sang together, their off-key but determined voices floating through the rubble like a stubborn beacon of hope. Sirens wailed on the street. Harrison turned and saw 3 fire trucks arriving, followed by 2 urban rescue vehicles. Jennifer had done it. 12 firefighters and rescue specialists jumped out, already suiting up. Stevens ran to brief them. Situation: 2 victims trapped, approximately 30 feet inside a collapsed structure. Adult teacher, 7-year-old child, critical oxygen levels. We need extraction in under 60 minutes. Structure unstable. Any mistake, and it all comes down. The faces around him were grim. They understood. This was the kind of rescue that ended either in miracle or tragedy. We split into 3 teams. Stevens continued. Team A with me will create an access tunnel from the east side. Team B, stabilize the structure above the cavity they're in. Team C, prep medical gear and a stretcher for rapid extraction once we open enough space. The teams moved with military precision. Saws began cutting through metal beams. Hydraulic jacks were positioned to lift sections of concrete. Metal struts were installed to prevent further collapse. Harrison watched, feeling helpless. He was a man of action, of decisions. But here, now, all he could do was watch and hope. His phone rang. Jennifer, Robert, we have a situation. The fire in the financial district is out of control. They need more fire units, but all our teams are committed. Harrison closed his eyes. Always impossible choices. How many people at direct risk? Hard to estimate. The building on fire is an office complex. Evacuation was underway when it started, but we don't know if everyone got out. And here I have 2 people who will definitely die if we don't have enough resources. Robert, Jennifer paused. You're the mayor of the entire city. You can't make decisions based on 2 people when hundreds could be at risk. She was right. Logically, mathematically, she was absolutely right. Keep 2 teams here, Harrison said, finally. Redirect the rest to the financial district. 2 teams won't. They'll have to be enough. It's the best I can do. He hung up and immediately called out to Stevens. Captain, I just lost half your resources. 2 teams will have to handle it. Stevens didn't complain. He didn't have time. Understood. We'll work with what we've got. But Harrison saw the worry in his eyes. 2 teams weren't enough. Not for a rescue this complex. Inside the debris, Maya had stopped singing. She had no energy left. Every breath was a conscious effort. The air was so thick it felt like liquid filling her lungs. Emma was too quiet, eyes closed, shallow breaths. Emma, Maya whispered, shaking the girl. Emma, wake up. No response. Emma, louder now. Real panic. Emma, please. The girl's eyes fluttered open slightly. Teacher, I'm so tired. I know, sweetheart. But look, Maya pointed upward. Through a small crack in the debris, she could see movement. Shadows shifting. See? They're coming for us. Just a little longer. Hold on a little longer with me. Outside, Stevens was coordinating the hardest operation of his career. With only 2 teams, every move had to be perfect. Peterson, is that brace secure? Checking, yes sir. Solid. Miller, how much of that beam have you cut? 70%. 10 more minutes. You've got 5. Stevens checked his watch. 43 minutes since arrival. They'd promised 1 hour. They were behind. A secondary tremor shook the ground. Small, only magnitude 4.2, but enough. The structure groaned. A chunk of concrete broke loose and fell, striking other beams. Freeze, Stevens shouted. Everyone stopped, tools suspended midair. They waited. 5 seconds. 10. 15. The structure stabilized. Continue. Carefully. Harrison was on the phone again, this time with the governor. Robert, CNN is broadcasting live. They've got a helicopter over the city. The footage is devastating. I know. We need a statement. People need to hear from the mayor that the city will recover. Then they'll hear it. But not now. Robert, Governor, with all due respect, I'm in the middle of a rescue operation. When these 2 people are safe, I'll give you all the statements you want. Until then, I have work to do. He hung up. He had probably just burned some important political bridges. He didn't care. One thing Maya had learned in her 28 years of life was that the human brain does strange things when deprived of oxygen. Memories began to drift through her mind. Disconnected, vivid. She was 7, the same age as Emma, her father teaching her to play piano, small fingers fumbling over keys. But he was patient, always patient. Music isn't about perfection, Maya, he'd say. It's about feeling, about telling a story without words. She was 15, auditioning for the school choir, so nervous she almost threw up. But when she started to sing, something magical happened. The room disappeared. Only the music existed. She was 22, graduating with a degree in music education, her mother crying with pride. You're going to change lives, my daughter. Through music, you'll touch hearts. She was 28, trapped under tons of rubble, holding a terrified child. and realizing that her whole life had led to this moment. Maybe every person had a purpose. Maybe hers was to be here, now, for this girl. To sing in the dark. To keep hope alive. "Emma," she whispered, "I need to tell you something, HM." The reply was a sleepy murmur. "When I was your age, I got stuck in an elevator. In the building where my mom worked was only for 20 minutes, but it felt like forever. I was so scared." "What did you do?" "My mom, from outside, started to sing. She sang all the songs I loved. And you know what? The fear went away. Because while she sang, I knew I wasn't alone." "You're not alone now," Emma whispered. "I'm here." Maya felt tears sting her eyes. "Yes, you are, and so are they." She gestured upward, where the sounds of rescue work continued. "So many people working to save us. Why do they care? Because that's what good people do. They care." Outside, Stevens finally saw what he'd been waiting for. An opening, small, only 18 inches in diameter, but a direct path to the cavity where Maya and Emma were. "We've got entry," he shouted. "Prep medical gear." Harrison ran to the spot. Stevens was getting ready to go down through the hole with a flashlight and a compact first aid kit. "I'll establish visual contact, assess conditions, provide supplemental oxygen if needed," Stevens explained quickly. "Is it safe for you to go in there?" "Probably not, but it's what we've got." Stevens disappeared through the opening, his flashlight casting dancing beams of light through the rubble. Maya saw the light first, then heard the voice. "Maya Chen, Emma Rodriguez, my name is Mike Stevens. I'm here to help." Maya looked up and saw a bearded face appear through a gap above them. Yellow helmet, kind eyes. The most beautiful man she'd ever seen. "You came," she whispered, voice breaking. "I said I would. How are you two doing?" "Emma's weak." "Me too. Hard. Hard to breathe." Stevens assessed quickly. The cavity was smaller than he'd thought, maybe 6 cubic feet total, and the air was visibly dusty, dense. He passed a small oxygen mask through the opening. "Put this on Emma first, then use it yourself." Maya took the mask with trembling hands and placed it over Emma's face. The girl inhaled deeply, her eyes opening wider. "That's it. Good," Stevens encouraged. "Now, Maya, I need honesty. Are you hurt? Anything broken?" "My shoulder? I think it's broken, or dislocated. I'm not sure." "Can you move?" "Yes, slowly, but yes." "And Emma?" Maya looked at the girl. "Emma, sweetheart, does anything hurt?" Emma shook her head under the oxygen mask. "She seems okay physically," Maya reported. "Just scared and tired." "Okay, good. We're going to get you out. But I need you to follow my instructions exactly." "Understood." "Yes. We'll widen this opening enough for a stretcher to pass through. Emma comes up first because she's smaller. Then you, Maya. The process will be scary. There'll be loud noises. The structure will shake. It'll feel like everything's collapsing. But it's not. It's just the cutting tools. Do you understand?" "We understand." "Good now. While we work, I want you to keep doing what you were doing. Keep singing. Keep Emma calm. And if at any moment you feel things getting worse, if something starts to fall, if there's more dust, anything, you scream. Loud. Got it?" "Got it." Stevens looked at Maya through the gap. Her eyes were determined, despite the visible fear. "You're doing great. Really great. You saved that girl's life by keeping her calm. You're a hero. I'm just trying to survive." "That's exactly what heroes do." He disappeared. Maya heard him shouting orders outside. Then the noise began. Saws loud, deafening. The whole structure vibrated. Dust began to fall like gray snow. Emma clutched Maya, eyes wide with terror. "It's okay," Maya shouted over the noise. "They're saving us. Remember, it's just noise." She began to sing, her voice barely audible over the roar of the tools, but it didn't matter. Emma could see her lips moving. She could feel the vibration through Maya's body. "You are my sunshine, my only sunshine," Emma sang along, voice muffled by the oxygen mask. Outside, Harrison watched the operation, heart pounding. Each cut in the beams made the entire structure tremble. He wasn't an engineer, but even he could see it was on the brink of collapse. "Stevens, is this safe?" He shouted no. Stevens yelled back, "But it's the only option." 15 more minutes of cutting. The opening was now 3 feet wide, enough for a small child. Stevens prepared himself. He'd done extractions through tight spaces before. Nepal, 2015, a child trapped in a space only 2 feet wide. He'd made it then. He could do it again. "Maya," he called through the hole. "We're starting. Get Emma ready." Maya cupped Emma's face in both hands. "Listen, that nice man is going to pull you up there. It might feel scary, but it'll be quick. And when you come out, you'll see the sky, the sun, and your parents will be waiting for you. Okay, and you?" Emma asked, small voice. "I'll be out right after, I promise." "Do you really promise?" Maya felt the weight of that promise. She didn't know if she could keep it. The opening was small. Her shoulder was injured. But she looked into Emma's green eyes and lied with all the conviction she had. "I promise." Stevens climbed down through the hole again, this time with a small harness. "Emma, we're going to put this on you. It's like a seatbelt, only better." With practiced hands, he secured the harness around Emma's small body. "Perfect. Now, when I tell you, You're going to raise your arms above your head, like you're reaching for the sky. Got it. Emma nodded. 3, 2, 1 plus arms up. Emma raised her arms. Stevens pulled. The girl's small body slid through the narrow gap. For one terrifying second, she got stuck at the hips. Stevens adjusted the angle, twisted slightly, pulled again. Emma came free. Outside, a paramedic caught the girl immediately, removing the harness and checking vitals. She's stable. Strong pulse. Good breathing. A cheer erupted from the rescue team. Harrison felt tears of relief. One saved, one more to go. Inside the rubble, Maya was alone for the first time. The silence was crushing. She could hear her own breathing, heavy and labored. Maya, Stephen's voice returned. Your turn. Can you stand? Maya tried. Explosive pain in her shoulder. She groaned, but forced herself onward, knees bending, head spinning, but she did it. She was standing, hunched under the low ceiling of debris. I'm standing. Good. Now this next step is going to hurt. I need you to raise your arms. I know your shoulder is hurt, but I need you to stand up anyway. Can you do that? Maya looked at her left arm. Just the thought of lifting it sent waves of pain through her body. But Emma was safe. Emma was outside, and Maya had promised. I can. She raised her arms. Her left shoulder screamed in protest. Her vision darkened at the edges, but she kept her arms raised. Stevens lowered the harness. Maya grabbed it with her right hand, struggling to put it on with only one functioning arm. Need help? No, I can do it. Pure stubbornness. She worked the harness around her body, using her right hand and her teeth when necessary. Finally, it was secured. Ready? Okay. When I pull, you're going to feel pressure. A lot, it'll tighten. It'll hurt, but you can handle it. Understood. Understood. 3, 2, 1. Stevens pulled. The harness tightened around Maya. She felt her body being lifted, dragged against sharp metal and rough concrete. The pain in her shoulder was blinding. She screamed, but she kept rising. Her shoulders reached the opening. For one horrible moment, she got stuck. Too wide. She wasn't going to make it through. She's not coming through. Someone shouted, pull harder, Stevens ordered. Hands grabbed her, pulled. Her shirt tore. Skin scraped off her arms, but she was moving, inch by inch. And then, suddenly, she was out. Sunlight hit her face. Fresh air filled her lungs. Gentle hands laid her onto a stretcher. She was free. Harrison was there when they pulled her from the rubble. He saw her face covered in dust, scratched, streaked with tears and blood. He saw her eyes meet his, and he saw something he had never seen in 15 years of politics. Pure courage. Not the kind of courage it takes to give speeches or face critics, but the courage to stay when everything in you screams to run. The courage to sing in the dark. Paramedics surrounded her. Oxygen mask, vital checks, shoulder immobilized. Emma, Maya whispered. Where's Emma here? The girl's voice came from a nearby stretcher. I'm here, Miss Maya. Maya turned her head. Emma was sitting up, wrapped in a thermal blanket, drinking water. Alive. Safe. You're okay? Maya whispered, closing her eyes. You're okay? And then, finally, she allowed herself to faint. Maya woke up in a hospital bed. Bright fluorescent lights, the smell of disinfectant, the steady beeping of heart monitors. Her left shoulder was immobilized, wrapped in bandages, and secured in a rigid sling. For a moment, she didn't know where she was. Then everything came back like a wave. The earthquake, the rubble, Emma, the song, the rescue. Welcome back. A nurse appeared beside the bed, a warm smile on her tired face. I'm Rachel. You're at San Francisco General Hospital. You were rescued 4 hours ago. Emma, Maya croaked, her throat raw as sandpaper. The girl who was with me. She's perfectly fine. Discharged 2 hours ago to her parents. No serious injuries, just mild dehydration and a few scrapes. Rachel adjusted the fore in Maya's arm. Thanks to you. You kept her calm, kept her breathing right. You saved her life. Tears stung Maya's eyes. She's really okay. Completely. In fact, she refused to leave until she was sure you were stable. That girl loves you. Maya closed her eyes, letting relief wash over her. And you, Rachel continued, checking the monitors, have a dislocated shoulder that was set back in place, 3 cracked ribs, severe dehydration, dust inhalation that irritated your lungs, and about a dozen cuts and bruises. It's going to hurt for a few days, but you'll make a full recovery. How long do I have to stay here? At least 48 hours for observation. The doctor wants to make sure there are no lung complications from the dust inhalation. Maya nodded, then realized something. Wait, 4 hours ago. What time is it now? 7:15 p.m., 5 hours since the earthquake. It felt like a lifetime. The city, Maya began. How's the city? Rachel's smile faltered. Bad, really bad. The official death toll just passed 300. Over 2,000 injured, tens of thousands displaced, large parts of the city without power or water. But, she held Maya's hand. We're surviving. San Francisco always survives. A knock on the door interrupted them. Rachel went to open it and returned with an odd expression. You have a visitor. Someone important. Robert Harrison walked into the room, still wearing the ruined, dust-covered suit from the rubble. He had only removed his jacket, leaving his white shirt now gray with Gramond loosened tie. "Miss Chen," he said softly, "I hope you don't mind the intrusion." Maya tried to sit up, wincing in pain. "Please, don't move on my account," Harrison said quickly, stepping closer. I came to see how you were." "The mayor?" Maya whispered. "You're the mayor. I heard your voice." "In the rubble?" "Yes, and I heard yours, singing." Harrison pulled up a chair and sat beside her bed, completely ignoring the usual distance that politics demanded between officials and citizens. "It was the bravest thing I've ever witnessed. I just did what anyone would do." "No, that's not true. Most people would panic, scream, use up oxygen quickly, and die. You turned the most terrifying situation imaginable into a moment of beauty. You kept a child calm. You saved 2 lives, hers and yours." Maya didn't know what to say. This man, the mayor of one of America's largest cities, was sitting beside her, looking at her as if she were something extraordinary. "How's Emma?" Harrison asked. "Have you seen her?" "The nurse said she's fine, but I haven't seen her yet." Harrison smiled. "I saw her when they pulled her out of the rubble. Do you know the first thing she said?" Maya shook her head. "Miss Maya sang to me. She kept me safe. A 7-year-old girl who just went through the most traumatic experience of her life, and the first thing she thinks of is giving you credit. She's a special child, and you're a special person." Silence hung between them. Rachel, sensing the intimacy of the moment, quietly left the room. Harrison leaned forward, elbows on his knees. "Can I tell you something? Something I haven't told anyone yet? Of course, when I first heard your voice in the rubble, singing to Emma... something changed in me." He paused, choosing his words carefully. "I've been mayor for almost 12 years. Before that, I was on the city council for 18 years in politics. And do you know what politics does to you? It turns people into numbers, problems into statistics, life and death into reports and graphs." Maya listened silently. "Today, when the earthquake hit, my first reaction was to make mental spreadsheets. How many injured? How many dead? How much damage in dollars? How to allocate resources? All numbers. All cold logic." He looked at her. "And then I heard you, singing a real human voice, full of fear but also full of love. And I realized I'd forgotten what really matters." "What matters?" Maya asked softly. "People, not statistics, not numbers. Real people, like you, like Emma, like every individual in this city who's suffering right now." Harrison took a deep breath. "I made hundreds of decisions today. Some saved lives, some probably cost lives. I had to choose where to send limited resources. It's impossible to save everyone, but your voice reminded me why I try, why it matters. You saved our lives," Maya said. "You mobilized those teams. You stayed there, even when you probably had 1,000 other places you needed to be. I stayed because I needed to. Not for you or Emma specifically, but because I needed to remember who I am. Why I chose this job." A sharp beep sounded on Harrison's pager. He checked it. "Emergency at command center. I have to go." He stood but hesitated at the door. "Miss Chen." "Maya, may I come back? Tomorrow maybe. I'd like to talk more. If you don't mind?" Maya smiled despite the pain. "I'd like that." When he left, Maya stared at the ceiling, processing the surreal conversation. The mayor of San Francisco had come to see her, not for a photo op, not for publicity, but because he genuinely wanted to. The world was getting very strange. The next morning, Maya woke to noise outside her room. Voices, many voices. She frowned. Rachel entered, looking nervous. "Okay, so you kind of became a celebrity overnight." "What?" "The story got out? About you and Emma. About you singing in the rubble. About the mayor staying for the rescue." Rachel turned on the TV in the room. CNN? The image showed aerial footage of the collapsed Lincoln Elementary School, then cut to an anchor in the studio. Double quotes, ... A story of heroism amid tragedy. Maya Chen, a 28-year-old music teacher, was trapped for over 2 hours under the rubble of Lincoln Elementary School, alongside 7-year-old Emma Rodriguez. Witnesses say Chen sang continuously to keep the child calm as rescue crews worked to free them. The screen shifted to an interview with Captain Stevens. "I've never seen anything like it in 18 years on this job. Most people in that situation panic, but Maya... She turned that terrifying space into a place of hope. Her voice was a beacon guiding our rescue efforts." Then, an interview with Emma's parents, Carlos and Maria Rodriguez, both crying. "She saved our baby," Maria sobbed. "When we saw Emma, the first thing she said was, 'Miss Maya sang to me. Our daughter is alive because of her.'" Maya was speechless. Staring at the TV, the report continued. In an interesting development, Mayor Robert Harrison remained on site for the entire duration of the rescue operation, a move some political analysts are calling highly unusual, given the hundreds of other emergencies demanding attention across the city. Rachel turned off the TV. "There's more. A lot more. You're all over social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Teacher Maya is trending, and there are about 30 journalists in the hospital lobby trying to talk to you." 30. What? "The hospital's trying to keep them away, but they're persistent. Some are offering money for exclusive interviews." Panic rose in Maya's chest. She didn't want this. She hadn't done anything special. She had just tried to survive. I don't want to give interviews. You have that right? I can tell security not to let anyone up. Please do. But the story had a life of its own. By noon, Maya received an unexpected visit. Carlos and Maria Rodriguez, with Emma holding both their hands. Miss Maya, Emma shouted, running to the bed. Maria caught her. Slow down, Mia. The teacher's hurt. But Maya opened her good arm. It's okay. Come here, sweetheart. Emma carefully climbed onto the bed, and Maya pulled her into a gentle hug. The girl smelled like strawberry shampoo and safety. You're better, Maya whispered. You too. Mom said you're going to be okay. I am. Carlos stepped forward, eyes red. Miss Chen, ... We have no words. You saved our daughter. How do we thank you for something like that? You don't have to? Yes, we do, Maria interrupted, tears streaming. Our Emma is everything to us. Everything. And you protected her, sang to her, kept her alive. She took Maya's hand. Your family now, forever. Whatever you need, anything, you come to us. We brought something, Emma said, grabbing a bag her mother carried. She pulled out a drawing, white paper with crayon. It showed two figures under a table, musical notes floating around them. I drew us singing. Maya felt tears burn her eyes. It's beautiful. I'll keep it forever. They stayed for 20 minutes, talking, laughing, crying. When they left, Maya held Emma's drawing to her chest, feeling something warm and good fill the empty space trauma had left behind. That afternoon, Harrison returned as promised. This time, he brought something, a laptop. I thought you might want to see something, he said, opening the screen. It was a video, shaky, grainy phone footage. It showed the rubble of Lincoln Elementary, and through the noise and chaos, a voice could be heard singing, somewhere over the rainbow, ... double quotes. Someone filmed it, Harrison explained. One of the rescuers. The video went online. 15 million views. Maya watched, listening to her own voice coming from the wreckage. It sounded so fragile, so human, but also so determined. People needed that, Harrison said softly. In the middle of all the destruction, all the death, all the pain. They needed a story of hope. You gave them that. I didn't want to be a story. I just wanted to survive. And that's exactly why the story is so powerful. Because it's real. Because it's you. Harrison closed the laptop. Maya, I have to give a speech tomorrow night. To the entire city. About rebuilding. About moving forward. And I'd like you to be there. I don't know. I'm not good with crowds. You don't have to speak. Just be present. Your presence would mean everything. Maya hesitated. Part of her wanted to refuse. To return to her quiet life as a teacher. But another part, the part that had sung in the dark, knew that some things were bigger than personal comfort. Okay, I'll be there. Harrison smiled. Thank you. Over the next 2 days, Maya's story grew exponentially. Articles in asterisk, the New York Times, asterisk, 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 the Washington Post, asterisk, asterisk, the LA Times, asterisk. Segments on asterisk, Good Morning America, asterisk, asterisk, Today Show, asterisk, CNN, asterisk, book deals, film offers, paid interviews. Everyone wanted a piece of the singing teacher. Maya declined them all. She didn't want fame. She didn't want money. She just wanted her shoulder to heal so she could play piano again. But there was one thing she couldn't refuse, the impact her story was having on the city. Donations for rebuilding efforts skyrocketed, many sent with notes saying inspired by teacher Maya. Volunteers multiplied. A wave of kindness seemed to wash over San Francisco. Neighbors, helping neighbors, strangers sharing resources, the community coming together. Her voice had literally changed the city. On the night of the mayor's speech, Maya was discharged from the hospital. Her shoulder still hurt, still in the sling, but she could walk. Rachel helped her dress simple jeans, a white blouse, comfortable sneakers. You look normal, Rachel said with a smile. I am normal, honey. You stopped being normal the moment you started singing in that rubble. A car sent by the mayor's office picked her up at the hospital. Uniformed driver, black SUV. Maya felt ridiculous. The speech would be at Civic Center Plaza, outdoors. Thousands were expected. Maya felt nauseous. When they arrived, the scene was surreal. A temporary stage had been set up, giant LED screens on both sides, news cameras everywhere, and people, thousands of them, filling the square, spilling into surrounding streets. Harrison met her backstage. He looked better, clean suit, hair combed, the image of control and competence, but his eyes showed deep exhaustion. You came, he said, genuinely relieved. I promised. How are you feeling? Nervous. There are so many people out there. They are all here for you. For you, she corrected. You're the mayor, Harrison smiled sadly. Maya, can I be honest? I've given hundreds of speeches. I know exactly what to say, how to say it, when to pause for applause. It's performative, but tonight, I don't know what to say. How do you put into words what the city has gone through? How do you inspire hope when there's so much pain? You tell the truth, Maya said simply. You acknowledge the pain, but you also show the path forward. He looked at her for a long moment. When this is over, would you have dinner with me? Not as mayor and citizen, just as two people who went through something extraordinary together. Maya felt her heart quicken. I'd like that. An aide appeared. Mayor, 5 minutes. Harrison nodded. Will you stay back here? I'll call you at the end. Okay. Maya watched from backstage as Harrison walked onto the stage. The roar of the crowd was deafening. He waved, waited for silence. My friends of San Francisco, he began, his voice amplified across the plaza. 3 days ago, our city faced one of the worst natural disasters in its history. The 7.8 magnitude earthquake killed 342 of our neighbors, injured more than 3,000, and left tens of thousands homeless. Buildings that stood for a century crumbled in seconds. Lives that took decades to build were destroyed in moments. A heavy silence fell over the crowd. I won't stand here and tell you everything will be fine right away. It won't. Rebuilding will take years. Some wounds will never fully heal. Some families will never be the same. His voice broke slightly. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry for every life lost. For every home destroyed. For every shattered dream. Maya saw tears on faces in the crowd, in Harrison's own eyes. But I want to talk about something I've seen over the past 3 days. Something that gives me hope. He took a deep breath. I've seen firefighters work 48 hours straight without sleep. I've seen neighbors share their last gallon of water with strangers. I've seen an entire city come together in ways I never thought possible. Applause began, slowly building, and I saw something else. Something that captured the heart of this city, and honestly, the entire world. Harrison looked back toward where Maya stood. 3 days ago, a music teacher named Maya Chen was trapped under tons of rubble, alongside a 7-year-old student. She had every reason to panic, to give up, to accept the worst. The crowd was utterly silent now. Instead, she sang. For more than 2 hours, she sang. She kept that child calm. She kept them both alive. She turned the darkest place imaginable into a place of hope. His voice grew stronger. That is the San Francisco I know. That is the San Francisco I love. A city that sings in the dark. The crowd erupted in applause. Maya is here with us tonight, and I'd like, if she agrees, to invite her up here. Not to make a speech, but only to let us see her, to remind us of what we are capable of when we choose courage over fear. All eyes turned backstage. Maya felt panic. Harrison extended his hand. Maya, please. She didn't want to. Every instinct screamed to refuse. But then she thought of Emma, of how the little girl had been brave, of how they had sung together in the dark. Maya took a deep breath and walked onto the stage. The roar of the crowd was deafening. Thousands of people, shouting, clapping, crying. Maya stopped beside Harrison, completely overwhelmed. Harrison took her good hand. San Francisco, Maya Chun. The crowd grew even louder. Maya looked at the sea of faces. She saw people holding signs. Thank you, Teacher Maya. You inspired us. We sang with you. A woman in the front row began to sing. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. Others joined in. First 10, then 100, then thousands. The entire square singing in unison. You make me happy when skies are gray. Maya began to cry. Not from sadness, but from something she couldn't name. Connection, belonging. The realization that her darkest moment had become light for others. Harrison leaned in. They love you. They don't know me, she whispered back. They know what matters. When the song ended, Harrison returned to the microphone. This is who we are, a city that sings together, a city that rises together, a city that will rebuild together. He looked directly at the crowd. The road ahead will be hard, but if Maya Chen can sing under tons of rubble, we can do anything. Maya stood on stage while Harrison finished the speech, detailing reconstruction plans, available resources, timelines, but people kept looking at her, as if she were a symbol of something greater than herself. When it ended, Harrison guided her off stage, but before they could reach the back, a voice shouted, Teacher Maya. Emma, the little girl, was running through the crowd, her parents chasing after her. She jumped into Maya's arms, the good arm, thankfully. You were on TV, you were on stage, you're famous. Maya laughed through tears. I'm not famous, sweetheart. I'm just your teacher. You're my hero, Emma said seriously. You're mine, Maya replied. Carlos and Maria arrived, out of breath. Sorry, she got away from us. It's okay. Maya hugged Emma tighter. I'm glad she came. The media surrounded them, cameras flashing, reporters shouting questions. The mayor's security formed a protective circle. No questions, Harrison announced firmly. Ms. Chen is not giving interviews. They escorted her to the SUV. When the doors closed, finally shutting out the chaos, Maya collapsed into the seat, trembling. Harrison got in beside her. You were incredible. I didn't do anything. You stood there. You let yourself be seen. That's all they needed. The car began to move. Maya looked out the window at the streets of San Francisco. Even in the darkness, she could see the damage. Buildings marked with red X's, cracked streets, blue tarps covering damaged roofs. But she also saw people rebuilding, cleaning, embracing, living. Thank you, she said softly. For what? For reminding me why I did this. Why I sang. It wasn't just to survive. It was to keep humanity alive. Hope. Even when everything seemed lost. Harrison took her hand. You did more than that. You showed an entire city how to be brave. Maya looked at him, really looked. She saw beyond the mayor, the politician, the public figure. she saw a tired man who carried the weight of 870,000 people on his shoulders. A man who had come to the hospital not for cameras, but because he needed to. "That dinner," she said, "is it still available?" He smiled. "Absolutely." "When? How about now?" Maya laughed. "Now? It's 9 p.m. The city's in ruins. You're the mayor. Shouldn't you be working?" "I've worked 72 hours almost non-stop. I think I've earned an hour off. And you deserve a proper meal." He leaned forward. "Rodriguez, know any restaurants still open that survived the quake?" The driver laughed. "Actually, yes sir. Luigi's in North Beach. Italian family. No structural damage. Own generators. They'd be honored to host the mayor." "Perfect. Then let's go." 20 minutes later, Maya was seated at a corner table in a small Italian restaurant. Candles flickering, the smell of garlic and basil in the air. Just her and Harrison. He had sent the security to wait outside. "This is surreal," Maya said, looking at the menu. 3 days ago I was trapped under a collapsed building. Now I'm having dinner with the mayor. 3 days ago I was in budget meetings. Now I'm having dinner with the woman who changed my perspective on everything." "I didn't change anything. You did." Harrison set the menu aside. "Maya, I spent 15 years optimizing. Efficiency numbers, results. I became very good at seeing problems, not people. And then I heard you singing in the dark, and I realized I'd lost something essential. The humanity and service. The heart of leadership. And now I'll do things differently. I don't know exactly how yet, but I'll lead with more heart, more connection, more music." He smiled. Literally and metaphorically. They ordered simple pastas, salads, bread, and talked about their lives before the earthquake. Maya spoke about growing up in Seattle, the daughter of Chinese immigrants, discovering music at 5. Harrison talked about growing up in Oakland, a working-class family, stumbling into politics when he volunteered for a local campaign at 22. "I never wanted to be a politician," he admitted. "I wanted to be a history teacher, but they asked me to run for city council, and one thing led to another." "Do you regret it?" "Sometimes politics can be brutal, dehumanizing. You become a brand, not a person." He looked at her. "But today, seeing how people responded to your story, to your courage, I remembered why it matters, why it's worth it." "What will you do now about the rebuilding?" Harrison sighed. "Massive job. Billions in damages. Debates about historical preservation versus modern construction. Housing for tens of thousands. Infrastructure repairs that will take years. And doing all that while keeping the city running. People employed. Hope alive. You'll do it. How can you be so sure? Because you care. I saw it in your eyes when you were in the rubble. When you came to the hospital, you truly care. That's rare." They ate slowly, savoring both the food and the conversation. There was something easy between them, natural, as if they'd known each other for years, not days. When they finished, Harrison insisted on paying. Maya didn't argue. Outside, the driver waited. "Can I take you home?" Harrison offered. "I'd love that, but I don't have a home anymore. The building I lived in was condemned. I'm staying with my friend Sarah for now. Give me the address. I'll make sure you get there safely." During the drive to Sarah's apartment in the Sunset District, they were quiet, holding hands in the back seat, just feeling each other's presence. When they arrived, Harrison got out to walk her to the door. "Thank you," Maya said, "for everything, for the rescue, for the speech, for the dinner, for seeing more in me than I see. Thank you for reminding me who I want to be." They stood there, a small distance apart. The city destroyed around them, but this moment small, perfect between them. Harrison leaned in and kissed her forehead gently. "Good night, Maya." "Good night, Robert." She watched him leave, then went inside. Sarah ran to her immediately. "Oh my God. You were at the mayor's speech. You were on every channel. And you just got out of a car with the mayor. Maya, what is happening?" Maya laughed, collapsing on the couch. "Honestly, I have no idea. But I think something amazing." 2 weeks after the earthquake, San Francisco was in a state of chaotic transformation. Rubble still blocked streets, but cleanup crews worked around the clock. Temporary camps housed thousands, but housing plans were underway. The city bled, but it was alive. Maya returned to Lincoln Elementary School for the first time since the rescue. Or rather, to what was left of it. The West Wing had been deemed structurally safe after emergency repairs. Temporary classrooms, modular trailers, had been installed on the football field. The school would reopen in 3 days, a symbol of resilience the city desperately needed. But the East Wing, where Maya had nearly died, remained in ruins. Yellow caution tape surrounded the perimeter. Inside that zone, pieces of her former life remained visible among the debris. A piece of the piano, scattered sheet music, the torn poster of Mozart. "You didn't have to come here alone." Harrison's voice made her turn. He stood behind her, in jeans and a casual jacket, without the formal suit. He looked years younger. "How did you know I'd be here?" "Intuition. And maybe I asked your friend Sarah to call me if you went out." He smiled sheepishly. "Hope you don't mind? Are you tracking me?" "Mayor Harrison? Just making sure you're okay." "And it's Robert. Please. We're past formalities, don't you think?" Maya looked back at the ruins. "I needed to see it. To face what happened. Therapy, you know." Robert stepped closer, standing beside her. "How are you feeling?" "Honestly, I don't know. Sometimes I wake up and think it was all a dream. Then I see the news or look at my bandaged shoulder and realize it was real. All of it was real. Have the nightmares stopped? She had told him during one of their dinners, now a 3 times a week tradition, about waking up screaming, feeling the weight of the rubble, hearing the roar of the quake. They're fading. My therapist says it's normal. Mild PTSD. It'll get better with time. And teaching again. Are you ready? Maya took a deep breath. I have to be. The kids need normalcy, routine, and I need to prove to myself I can do this. Robert took her hand. In the past 15 days, these small gestures of intimacy had become natural between them. Holding hands, goodbye, hugs, cheek kisses that lasted a second too long. You're the bravest person I know, he said softly. I don't feel brave. Brave people never do. They just do what needs to be done, even when they're scared. They stood there for a few more minutes. Then Robert checked his watch. I need to go. Meeting with FEMA in 20 minutes, but he hesitated. The Civic Symphony is holding a benefit concert tomorrow night for reconstruction efforts. Would you come with me? As my official date? Maya felt butterflies. Official? Well, the media will be there. They'll take photos, they'll speculate. And I'd like to stop pretending we're just friends, when clearly we're more. Robert Harrison, are you asking me to be your girlfriend? He blushed, something Maya found absurdly charming. I suppose I am. Though I admit I haven't done this since my 20s, so I'm probably terrible at it. Maya laughed. You're doing fine. And yes, I'll go to the concert with you. His smile lit up his whole face. Perfect. I'll pick you up at 6. After he left, Maya stayed a few more minutes, then walked around the fenced perimeter. She stopped where the entrance to her music room had been. Thank you, she whispered to the ruins, for keeping me alive, for teaching me what I'm capable of. A voice behind her made her turn. Teacher Maya. Emma was running across the parking lot, pink backpack bouncing on her shoulders. Maria followed more slowly, smiling. Emma, what are you doing here? Mommy brought me to see the new school. The trailers. Will I be in your class again? You will, if you still want to. I do. And I'm going to tell everyone you're the coolest teacher ever. Maya knelt careful with her shoulder to be at Emma's level. You know what we'll do in our first class back? What? We'll make a music circle. Every student will share a song that makes them happy, and we'll sing together, all the songs, no matter how different they are, because music is about unity, not division. Emma hugged Maya tightly. I'm so glad you didn't die. Maya felt tears sting. Me too, sweetheart. Me too. Maria came closer after Emma ran off to explore the trailers. Ms. Chen, Maya, may I say something? Of course. You changed our family. Emma was having terrible nightmares, waking up screaming. She didn't want to go anywhere. But then she saw you on TV. At the mayor's speech, saw you being brave, and something shifted. She said, if Teacher Maya can be brave, I can too. Tears streamed down Maria's face. You saved her twice. Once in the rubble. Once by being an example. She saved me too. Gave me a reason to keep singing, to keep fighting. I see you and the mayor have become close. Maria smiled knowingly. Maya blushed. It's complicated. Complicated like I like him but I'm scared. Or complicated like he's the mayor and I'm just a teacher. Both. Maria laughed. Honey, you're not just anything. You're the woman who inspired an entire city. If anyone's too good for someone here, it's you for him. If you're enjoying this incredible story of resilience and love, don't forget to comment below. Tell me, do you think Maya and Robert will make their relationship official? What would be your biggest concern if you were in Maya's place? Come on, comment here. The benefit concert was held at Davies Symphony Hall, one of the few major venues that had survived the earthquake almost intact. Maya spent 2 hours getting ready with Sarah, who was more excited than Maya herself. It's the mayor. You're going out with the mayor. Sarah practically screamed while helping Maya choose a dress. I'm aware of who he is. Thank you. And he's going to introduce you publicly. This is huge. Maya looked at her reflection in the mirror. The navy blue dress was simple but elegant, falling just below the knees. Her shoulder was still bandaged, but the sling had been replaced with a more discreet, skin-toned one. What if I mess it all up? Maya asked nervously. How do you mess up being yourself? He likes you, not some polished version. The real woman who sang in the rubble and eats pasta with her hands when she thinks no one's watching. I do not eat with my hands. You did last week when we were watching that documentary. Maya threw a pillow at her. At exactly 6 o'clock, a knock on the door. Robert stood outside, immaculate in a black suit, blue tie perfectly matching her dress. Sarah had secretly sent him a photo. You look wow, he said, clearly at a loss for words. You too, and he did. Gray hair perfectly styled, blue eyes shining, a smile that made her stomach flip. In the car, Robert held her hand. You know there will be photographers, right? Lots of them, and questions. They'll want to know who we are to each other, and what will you say? The truth. That you're someone extraordinary I met under the most improbable circumstances. Someone who changed my life. Someone I'd like to spend more time with. If she agrees, she agrees. Davies Symphony Hall was lit up. Red carpet rolled out. Photographers lined on both sides. Maya felt panic rising. Hey, Robert touched her face gently. You don't have to smile. You don't have to pose. You just have to be you. I'll be right beside you the whole time." When they stepped out of the car, flashes exploded. Hundreds of cameras clicking simultaneously. Voices shouting, "Mayor Harrison, who's your date? Is that Maya Chen, the teacher? Are you two dating? Maya, look here." Robert placed a protective hand on Maya's back, guiding her along the carpet. He stopped a few times for photos, always keeping Maya close. She tried to smile but knew she looked terrified. Inside the hall, the atmosphere was calmer. Well-dressed people, soft conversations, champagne circulating, yet all eyes still turned to them. Robert, an older woman in a dramatic red gown, approached. "You brought a date." Finally, "Senator Blackwell, this is Maya Chen." "Maya, Senator Julia Blackwell, the teacher." Julia took Maya's hands. "Dear, you were all anyone talked about for weeks. An honor to meet you." More introductions followed. Council members, business leaders, philanthropists. Maya smiled, shook hands, murmured, "Thanks." Robert never left her side. When they finally sat, front row, center, Maya whispered, "Is it always like this for you?" "Always. Politics is performance." But tonight, he held her hand openly. "I'm not performing. I'm just happy to be here with you." The orchestra began. Beethoven First, Symphony No. 9. The music filled the hall, powerful and moving. Maya closed her eyes, letting the sound wash over her. Then Tchaikovsky, then Mozart, each piece more beautiful than the last. During intermission, Robert took her to a private VIP area. "Are you having fun?" he asked, handing her a glass of champagne. "More than I expected. The music is, I forgot how much I missed it." "Why did you stop performing?" "Sarah mentioned you used to sing professionally." Maya took a sip. "I did. Small venues, weddings, corporate events. It was nice, but I don't know. It started to feel empty. Singing for people who weren't really listening, who were just waiting to drink more, or eat, or leave. So I started teaching. I found I preferred helping children find their voices to using mine for superficial entertainment." "But you still love to sing?" "Yes, on my own terms." The second half of the concert included a special segment, vocals, famous tenor from the San Francisco Opera singing Italian arias. His voice was technically perfect, but Maya found it cold, without emotion. During the applause, the conductor stepped up to the microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen, we have a special surprise tonight. Many of you know the inspiring story of Maya Chen, the teacher who sang among the rubble to save a life. Maya is with us tonight, and if she agrees, it would be an enormous honor if she joined us on stage for a song." Maya froze. All eyes turned toward her. "You don't have to," Robert whispered quickly, but something inside her stirred. How many times had she sung in the rubble? In the dark, with fear consuming every breath? And it had been powerful. It had meant something. Maybe it was time to sing in the light. "I will," she said, surprising herself. The crowd erupted in applause as Maya stepped onto the stage. Her legs trembled. The conductor, a 60-year-old man with flowing white hair, took her hands. "Thank you for doing this. What would you like to sing?" Maya thought. She didn't want something operatic. She didn't want something technical. She wanted something real. "Over the Rainbow." No accompaniment. Just voice. Perfect. The conductor stepped back. Maya stood alone on the stage, 1,000 pairs of eyes fixed on her. The silence was absolute. She closed her eyes, thought of Emma, of Robert, of everyone who had fought and survived, and she began to sing, "Somewhere Over the Rainbow," way up high. Her voice without microphone or amplification filled the hall, clear, pure, full of every emotion she had lived. "There's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby." Robert felt tears sting. This was the voice he had heard in the rubble. But here, without fear choking her, it was even more beautiful. "Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue." Maya opened her eyes, found Robert in the audience, sang directly to him. "And the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true." When she finished, absolute silence for 3 seconds. Then the crowd rose as one. Thunderous applause, cheers, tears streaming down faces. Maya was crying too, but she was smiling. She had forgotten what that felt like, singing not to survive, but to live, to connect, to touch souls. Robert found her as soon as she came down from the stage, pulling her into a tight embrace. "You were perfect, absolutely perfect. I was so scared, I know, and you did it anyway. That's courage, Maya." The rest of the night passed in a blur, more people wanting to meet her, thank her, take pictures. Maya smiled through it all, but she was exhausted when they finally got back to the car. "I'm sorry," Robert said once they were finally alone. "I didn't realize it would be that intense." "It's okay. It was worth it, to sing, to be with you." He drove her home, but neither wanted the night to end. They sat in the car parked in front of Sarah's apartment for 20 minutes, just talking. "Can I tell you something?" Maya asked. "Something I realized today." "Anything. I've spent my whole life searching for purpose. I thought it was teaching, and it is, partially, but today, singing, connecting with all those people, I realized my purpose is to use my voice, literally, to bring light where there's darkness, hope where there's despair. You're already doing that. I want to do more. I'm thinking maybe after the school stabilizes, start a program for trauma victims, music therapy, use songs to heal like singing healed Emma and me in that rubble." Robert smiled. That's brilliant. And if you need funding, I know a mayor who would love to help. Oh yeah, is he handsome? Extremely, completely in love with you. The air between them changed, charged, electric. Maya leaned in. Robert met her halfway. The kiss was soft at first, exploratory, then deeper, more urgent, hands in hair, breaths quickening, years of loneliness melting into a single moment of perfect connection. When they parted, both were breathless. Wow, Maya whispered. Yeah, wow, Robert, is this real? It's not just post-trauma adrenaline or gratitude, or he kissed her again, silencing the doubts. It's real, more real than anything I've ever felt. In the days that followed, the media went wild. Photos of them at the concert were on every cover. Headlines ranged from sweet mayor and heroine find love amid tragedy, to cynical Harrison using rescue story for political gain. Maya tried to ignore it, but it was hard, especially when they started digging into her life. Old college photos, interviews with ex-boyfriends, even her credit score was apparently of public interest. It's horrible, she told Robert over dinner at her apartment, the first time they were completely alone, without drivers, or security, or public eyes. It is, and I'm sorry. That's what happens when you're connected to me. Privacy disappears. Is it worth it? He pulled her close. You're worth anything. They cooked together, or rather, Robert tried to cook while Maya laughed at his efforts. Burned pasta, splattered sauce, smoke from the fire alarm. Okay, maybe we should order in, he admitted in defeat. Maybe we should. They ended up eating Chinese takeout on the living room floor, laughing, talking, kissing between bites. Can I ask something serious? Robert said eventually. Always. Where do you see this going? Us. Because I don't do casual. Not at this age, and especially not with you. If we're doing this, I want to do it right. I want to build something real. Maya set her plate aside. I'm scared. You're the mayor. Your life is public, complicated, full of pressure. And don't finish that sentence with just. You're never just anything. But it's true. I'm an ordinary teacher with a condemned apartment and student loan debt and zero experience navigating spotlights, and I'm a middle-aged divorced politician with 3 grown kids who barely talk to me and enough emotional baggage to fill a warehouse. Neither of us is perfect, Maya, but together we could be something amazing. She looked into his eyes, saw sincerity, vulnerability, hope. Okay, she said softly. Let's try. For real. Not hidden, not ashamed. Together, publicly, proudly. Are you sure? No, but I'll be brave anyway. He kissed her, and this time they didn't stop. Clothes were removed, inhibitions abandoned. They made love slowly, tenderly, 2 survivors finding comfort and connection amid the chaos. Afterward, lying entwined, Maya whispered, "Thank you." For what? For seeing me. Not the hero teacher, not the city's inspiration. Just me. Always you, Robert murmured into her hair. Always? Outside, San Francisco continued its recovery. But inside that apartment, 2 people had found something rare and precious. Love born from tragedy, connection forged in fire. And this was only the beginning. 6 months after the earthquake, San Francisco was a transformed city. Not just physically though, cranes dotted the skyline, and new buildings began to rise from the ruins. But spiritually, there was a different energy in the streets, a connection, a sense of community that hadn't existed before the disaster. And at the center of it all, in ways neither could have foreseen, were Maya Chen and Robert Harrison. Maya stood at the front of a temporary classroom at Lincoln Elementary, watching 23 children, including Emma, sing This Little Light of Mine in unison. Their voices, off-key but enthusiastic, filled the modular trailer with pure joy. 6 months, half a year since she had been trapped under tons of debris. Sometimes it felt like a lifetime ago. Other times, like yesterday? Very good. Maya clapped when they finished. Now, who wants to share how this song makes them feel? A forest of hands shot up. Maya pointed to Marcus, an 8-year-old boy who rarely spoke. It makes me feel big, he said shyly. Like even though I'm small, my light matters. Exactly. Maya smiled. Each of you has a light, and when we sing together, our lights join and shine even brighter. Emma raised her hand. Miss Maya, is that why you sang with me that day? To keep my light shining? The room went quiet. Everyone knew the story. How could they not? It was in children's books now, TV shows, even a movie being planned by Disney. Maya knelt beside Emma. Yes, sweetheart, that's exactly why. Your light was so important that I would do anything to keep it shining. And are you going to marry the mayor? Emma asked innocently. Maya blushed as the whole class burst out laughing. That's not a music class topic, Emma, but everyone's talking about it. My mom said you're going to be the first lady. San Francisco doesn't have a first lady. And no, we're not. We're not engaged yet. Yet, Emma caught the word with the sharpness of a 70-year-old. Does that mean it's going to happen? Maya laughed, defeated. How about we get back to music? Next song. But Emma's question echoed in her mind the rest of the day. Marriage? She and Robert had carefully avoided the topic. Even after 6 months together, they practically lived together at his apartment. Hers was still condemned, awaiting demolition. They had keys to each other's homes. toothbrushes in both bathrooms, clothes mixed in closets. But marriage meant something more. It meant permanence, public commitment, becoming part of his political life in ways that still scared her. Her phone buzzed. A message from Robert. Meeting ended early. Dinner at home tonight. I'm cooking. Okay, ordering in, but I'll put it on fancy plates so technically it counts as cooking. Maya smiled. I'll be there at 6 p.m. Need help with anything after? Always need you. But yes, prep for tomorrow's speech. Need honest ears. Honesty is my specialty. When she arrived at his apartment, now theirs at 6:15, the smell of Thai food filled the air. Robert was indeed plating food on porcelain dishes, tongue sticking out in concentration. Look at this, he announced proudly. 5-star restaurant presentation. It's pad thai on a plate. Beautifully presented pad thai on a plate. There's a difference. Maya kissed him, melting into his arms. 6 months and every kiss still made her heart race. How was your day? He asked, guiding her to the table. Educational. Apparently every 7-year-old in San Francisco is invested in our love life. Robert laughed. Only the 7-year-olds try the whole city. I had 3 reporters today ask about wedding plans. One even asked if I'd bought a ring. And have you? The silence that followed was loaded. Robert set his fork down. Maya, can we talk about it? Seriously, about marriage? About the future? About what we want? Because I know what I want. I've known for months, but I don't want to pressure you if you're not ready. Maya took a deep breath. What do you want? You, forever. In every way. Marriage, shared, home, completely intertwined lives. I love you, Maya, completely, and I want the world to know that you're mine and I'm yours. Tears burned her eyes. I love you too. So much it scares me sometimes. But Robert, marrying you means marrying your public life. It means cameras, constant speculation, every aspect of my life dissected. And I don't know if I'm strong enough for that. You sang under tons of rubble. You're strong enough for anything. That was different. That was survival. This is choosing to live under a microscope. Robert took her hands. Then don't choose yet. I'm not proposing today. I'm just letting you know where I stand. So that when you're ready, if you're ready, you'll know I'll be waiting. Maya kissed him, pouring all her love and fear and hope into that kiss. Thank you for being patient, always. They ate, talked about their days, laughed at silly stories. Later, Robert pulled out his laptop. Okay, the speech. Tomorrow marks 6 months since the earthquake. Memorial ceremony for those we lost. And I need to say something that honors the past but also looks to the future. I need your help. Maya, read the draft. It was good, eloquent, moving, appropriately solemn, but it was missing something. It's too political, she said gently, too distant. You're talking about those we lost like statistics, but they were people, with names, stories, families still grieving. How do I make it personal without being exploitative? You tell a story? A specific one. You ask a family's permission to share about their loved one. You make the audience see that person as real. Robert nodded, taking notes. Go on. And you don't just talk about physical rebuilding. You talk about emotional healing. About how the city isn't just buildings and streets, but people and connections. You talk about, she paused, an idea forming, about how music and art and beauty are part of rebuilding too. How we can't just fix concrete, we need to fix souls. Robert's eyes lit up. That's exactly it. Maya, you should write this speech. I'm a teacher, not a speechwriter. You're a storyteller. That's exactly what we need. They worked together for the next 3 hours, reshaping, refining. By the end, the speech had transformed from political to profoundly human. It's perfect, Robert said, reading the final version. Thank you, we're a team. Yes, we are. The memorial ceremony took place in Golden Gate Park, at the site where a permanent memorial was being built to 342 steel pillars, one for each life lost. Thousands attended. Families of victims, survivors, first responders, ordinary citizens. Maya was on stage, seated with other dignitaries. Her gaze swept over the crowd and landed on familiar faces. Emma and her parents, Captain Stevens and his rescue crew, Rachel the nurse. Even Sarah, who had taken the day off work to attend. Robert stepped up to the podium. Silence fell over the crowd. 6 months ago, he began, voice steady but emotional. The ground beneath our feet betrayed our trust. In 47 seconds, 342 of our neighbors, friends, family members were taken from us. Today, we remember. He paused, letting the weight settle. I want to tell you about someone. His name was James Martinez. He was 34, worked as a chef at his family's restaurant in the Mission District. He had 2 children, Miguel, 6, and Sophia, 4. His wife Carmen gave me permission to share his story. Maya saw Carmen in the front row, holding her children, tears already streaming. James was at work when the earthquake hit. The building collapsed. He didn't survive, but in the moments before he died, witnesses say he pushed 2 coworkers to safety, sacrificing his own chance to escape. Robert's voice broke slightly. James was a hero, like so many we lost. Ordinary people doing extraordinary things. He continued, sharing more stories. A teacher, a firefighter, a grandmother, each name making the numbers real. human. We are rebuilding our city, Robert said, reaching the climax. We see cranes, scaffolding, new buildings rising, but rebuilding isn't just about concrete and steel. It's about community, connection. It's about remembering that we are stronger together than apart. He looked directly at Maya. 6 months ago, I heard a voice singing under the rubble. It was a teacher, protecting a child, turning the darkest moment into music. That voice reminded me of something I had forgotten, that humanity, compassion, and beauty don't disappear in tragedy. They shine brighter. The crowd was utterly silent. So today, as we remember those we lost, we also celebrate what we found: strength, resilience, and a city that refuses to be defined by its worst day, but by how it responded to it. Thunderous applause erupted, but Robert raised his hand. One last thing. Maya Chen, the teacher I mentioned, started a program. It's called Healing Harmonies. She uses music therapy to help trauma survivors, not just from the earthquake, but from any trauma, to process, heal, and find hope again. In the past 3 months, she's helped over 200 people, children, adults, first responders with PTSD. She's here today. Maya, would you stand? Maya hesitated, then rose. The crowd exploded in applause. This is the San Francisco I know, Robert said, voice thick with emotion. A city where a teacher turns trauma into healing, where pain becomes purpose, where we never, ever give up. When the speech ended, the crowd stood, not just clapping, but singing. This little light of mine, the song Maya had taught her children, that had spread through the city like wildfire. Thousands of voices, in unison, singing about letting their lights shine. Maya was crying. So was Robert. They found each other's eyes across the stage, and in that moment, something shifted. Whatever last resistance remained in Maya broke. She knew with absolute certainty, this was her future. This man, this city, this purpose. After the ceremony, Maya was surrounded by survivors from her Healing Harmonies program. Each shared how music had changed their lives, how singing had given them their voices back, literally and metaphorically. You saved my life, a 50-year-old man said, tears in his eyes. After I lost my wife in the quake, I wanted to die. But then I came to your group, and singing made me feel alive again. You saved yourself, Maya replied gently. I just gave you the tools. No, you gave hope. And that's everything. Robert found her eventually, guiding her away from the crowd to a quiet corner of the park. That speech, Maya said, you made me cry in front of thousands of people. Good, you should know how extraordinary you are. Robert, yes, ask me, ask you what? You know what? Robert's heart pounded. Maya, are you sure? I've never been more sure of anything in my life. Ask me. Robert took her hands, knees bending. Right there, in the middle of Golden Gate Park, hundreds of people still nearby. Maya Chen, you are the most courageous, compassionate, and extraordinary person I have ever met. You taught me to lead with my heart. You taught me that strength isn't about never breaking, but about continuing to sing even when everything falls apart. You taught me how to love again. Tears streamed down his face. Will you marry me? Will you spend the rest of your life by my side, singing through whatever storms may come? Yes. Maya whispered, yes, yes, yes. He pulled her into a kiss as people around them began to notice. Applause erupted. Cameras flashed. But Maya and Robert didn't notice. They were too busy beginning their forever. 3 months later, in a simple ceremony at Davies Symphony Hall, the place where Maya had first sung publicly after the earthquake, they were married. Emma was the flower girl, scattering petals and occasionally stopping to dance. Robert's children, who had been skeptical at first but quickly fell in love with Maya, served as witnesses. Sarah was maid of honor, crying through her makeup. But the most memorable moment came when, instead of traditional vows, Maya sang "Over the Rainbow," the song she had sung in the rubble, on stage, and now, finally, in pure joy. There wasn't a dry eye in the house. Robert whispered his own vows. You sang to me in my darkest moment, even without knowing it. Now I promise to sing with you in every moment, dark or bright, for the rest of our lives. 2 years later, Maya stood at the site of the new San Francisco Center for Arts and Healing, built exactly where Lincoln Elementary School had fallen. The building was beautiful, all glass and light, designed by one of the world's top architects who had donated his services. In the lobby, a plaque read, Maya Chen's Center for Arts and Healing, dedicated to the belief that music can heal even the deepest wounds, where lights shine brightest after the darkness. Robert stood beside her, holding her hand. Emma, now 10 years old and a star student in the center's music program, was ready to cut the ribbon. Ready? Robert whispered to Maya. Never been more ready. Emma cut the ribbon. The doors opened, and from within, the sound of hundreds of voices singing filled the air. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Maya stepped inside, tears of joy streaming, and joined the song. Her voice, the one that had saved a life in the rubble, that had inspired a city, that had found love amid tragedy, rose above all the others. Bright, strong, unbreakable. A beacon of hope that would never ever fade. 5 years after the earthquake, San Francisco was stronger than ever. The city had rebuilt not just physically, but in spirit. Crime rates had fallen. Community engagement had soared, and at the heart of it all, the Maya Chen Center had helped more than 10,000 people heal through the power of music. Maya and Robert now had 2 daughters, Lily, 3, and Grace, 1, both already showing signs of inheriting their mother's musical gift and their father's heart for service. Emma, now 12, was an assistant teacher in the center's children's program, teaching younger kids about how music had once saved her life. And always, in every session, every class, every moment when despair turned into hope, it began the same way, with someone, somewhere, starting to sing. Because Maya had taught the city a lesson they never forgot. Even in darkness, especially in darkness, your voice matters. Your light matters. And when you sing, when you shine, you give others permission to do the same. One voice can change everything. And sometimes, just sometimes, that voice comes from a simple teacher trapped beneath the rubble, singing to a frightened child, not even realizing she's saving far more than 2 lives. She's saving an entire city. And there you have it, you've reached the end of this incredible story. I hope you felt as moved as I did writing it. The story of Maya and Robert teaches us that even in our darkest moments, our light can shine and inspire others. That a single act of courage can transform not just one life, but an entire city. If this story touched your heart, hit that master like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell so you don't miss any more emotional stories. Share this video with someone who needs inspiration today. And tell me in the comments, what moment moved you the most in this story? Was it when Maya began to sing in the rubble, the rescue, the wedding? I want to know everything. And if you have an emotional story to share, a moment when you or someone you know was brave in the midst of chaos, leave it below. I love reading your stories. Thank you so much for being here. Your presence makes all the difference. Until the next story, and remember, let your light shine, always.